The graveyard shift. Hey, you made it. Yeah, you, the one scrolling through creepy stories at 3:14 a.m., pretending you're gonna fall asleep to this. You won't. But I'm glad you're here anyway. Because tonight, we're trading haunted castles and ancient tombs for something a little closer to home. A hospital. A modern one. Well, as modern as a 1960s concrete block held together by duct tape and prayers can be. East Orange General. I used to work there, night shift, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 4 nights a week. And no, before you ask, I didn't believe in ghosts. Not really. Not until this. Now, before we get started, do me a favor. If you're into stories that crawl under your skin and linger there like a bad fever, hit that like button. Maybe subscribe. Or don't. But when your bedside lamp flickers at 2 a.m., you're gonna wish you did. Okay, let's get to it. The graveyard shift was quiet that night. Too quiet. Not the peaceful kind, though. The kind where every distant cough feels like a scream, and you can hear your own heartbeat thudding in your ears. The halls stretched long and empty. Flickering lights hummed overhead. The smell of antiseptic was thick enough to taste. I remember passing room 616 around 1:30 a.m. Now this place had rumors. Every hospital does. But 616? No one went in there. Door was always locked. No patients assigned. No charts. It wasn't even on the official room list anymore. But that night, the light above the door was on, and the call bell was lit. A steady blinking red. Beep, beep, beep. I stood there, a knot tightening in my stomach. No one should be in there. The hallway was cold. Cold enough that I could see my breath fog in the air. And it was June. I hesitated, glancing at the cameras. Except the monitor feed for that hallway was static. Of course it was. Beep, beep, beep. I should have walked away, should have radioed security. But you don't want to be that nurse, the one who calls for backup over a light. So I reached for the handle. Cold, damp, sticky. It turned, and I pushed the door open. Soft creak. Heartbeat bass pulse. Inside was pitch black, except for a flicker from an old TV mounted in the corner. Static. The room reeked of damp plaster and something sharp and metallic. On the bed, someone lay under the sheets. I couldn't see their face, just the outline of a figure. Thin, still. No chart, no wristband, no admission bracelet, nothing. I cleared my throat. Sir, are you okay? No answer. The call bell was still lit on the wall. Beep, beep, beep. I stepped closer. Sound, footsteps echoing on tile. The air felt thick, like moving through water. My skin crawled, every hair on my arm standing on end. And just as I reached out to check for a pulse, the figure sat bolt upright. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my flashlight. But when I shined the beam, the bed was empty, sheets rumpled, no one there, not a trace. And then from behind me, a soft knock, 3 times, at the inside of the locked window. I spun. No one, just the old grimy pane, a smear of condensation where a handprint had been. And I swear to you, for a second, I saw my own reflection grin. The man with no chart. I didn't sleep the next day. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see that empty bed, that smudged handprint, that grin. But maybe I was overtired. Night shifts'll do that to you. Your brain turns static, your edges blur, and things that shouldn't happen start happening in the corners of your vision. So when I clocked in the next night, I told myself it was stress, a trick of bad lighting and worse coffee. East Orange was its usual mess. A psych patient screaming about shadows. 2 ER overdoses in 5 minutes. One guy tried to set his bed on fire because the sheets smelled like old people. Standard. I did my rounds. Avoided 616. But around 2:07 a.m., my pager buzzed. Room 616, call light active. I froze. The door was supposed to be locked. The room wasn't in use. Nobody had keys. Except the light was blinking. Again. Beep, beep, beep. I grabbed the hall phone, called the supervisor's desk. Hey, it's me. Who's in 616? Pause. What room? 616. Longer pause. Then soft, flat. That room's closed. No, someone's in there. The call light's going off. I'm telling you, no one's assigned. It's not even on the patient board. I hung up. Dumb move. I should have left it, but you don't just leave a call light ringing. Not even if it's coming from hell's waiting room. I headed down the hall, my sneakers squeaking faintly against the waxed linoleum. The overhead fluorescents buzzed, one of them flickering like it was about to die. And there it was, room 616, light blinking red. Door cracked open. This time, the TV wasn't static. It was playing some old black and white war movie with the sound off. Soldiers running through smoke. Faces twisted in slow-motion horror. And on the bed, a man, lying there like he'd been there all along. Thin, pale, head turned toward the window. I stepped inside. Sir? No answer. I got closer. No chart at the foot of the bed. No ID band. Nothing in the system. I reached for his wrist. Cool skin, faint pulse, and then he spoke. Voice dry as paper. Water. One word. Nothing else. I swallowed hard, and somewhere in the back of my head, a memory. If he asks for water, don't give it. I spun around. No one there. The room was empty, save for me, the man, and the old flickering TV. I turned back to the bed. Empty. Again. Sheets crumpled, pillow dented. The call light flicked off by itself. I nearly jumped out of my skin. At the window, same condensation smear. This time, a finger tracing letters. D-O-N-T. And before I could move, the figure appeared in the reflection behind me. Close, too close. I bolted out of the room, heart pounding, breath ragged in my throat. Didn't stop until I hit the nurse's station. And there she was, old Lucille, the night shift lifer who'd worked this place since the 70s. She looked up at me, eyes heavy, like she already knew. I managed to choke out one word, 616. And she just said, I told you, if he asks for water, don't. The missing body. I didn't go back to room 616 the rest of that shift. Hell, I barely left the nurse's station. Spent the night chain-drinking burnt coffee and pretending to chart while watching that hallway monitor like my life depended on it. Funny thing though, the feed was clean now. No static, no glitches. Like nothing ever happened. But that call light never came back on. At 6:58 a.m., I clocked out and practically sprinted to my car. Told myself I wasn't coming back. Not for overtime, not for holiday pay, nothing. But you know how it is. Bills. So the next night, I was back. Different wing, thank God. I kept my head down. No weird calls. No phantom patients. Until about 3 o'clock a.m. The charge nurse asked me to help pull linens from storage, down in East Wing, which meant walking right past 616. I told myself I'd be fast, eyes straight ahead, in and out. And then I noticed something. The door to room 616 was wide open, lights off, and empty. I mean empty. No bed, no TV, no monitor cables. Just a bare room, peeling walls, dust motes swirling in a shaft of moonlight. I stood there for a long minute, long enough for the cold to creep up my neck, for that hum to settle in my teeth. Then I checked the cameras. Nothing. And here's the kicker. The previous night's footage was gone, wiped. I asked security. They shrugged. Must have been a glitch, they said. Right. So I did what any idiot in a horror story would do. I asked Lucille. Found her in the break room, smoking a cigarette she wasn't supposed to have. Room 616, I said. Her eyes darkened. I told you not to go near it, she muttered. I asked her what happened there. She hesitated. Then she leaned in and whispered, like the walls might be listening. 1978. Man came in after a car wreck, brought him up here. Room 616. Started seeing things, talking about people in the walls. Said they were calling him, scratching at night, begging for water. I swallowed. She kept going. Then one night they found him dead, scratch marks on the inside of the window. Whole room covered in condensation, like it was raining in there. No one touched the body. Room's been closed ever since. Sudden distant knock. Faint but sharp. We both froze. Lucille stubbed out her cigarette. I'll tell you one thing, she said. If he ever asks for water, you run. The knock. So yeah, after Lucille's little horror bedtime story, I should have called out sick for the rest of the week. But rent exists. And curiosity? It's a disease worse than anything we kept in isolation. Fast forward 2 nights later. It's another graveyard shift. Storm outside. Rain slamming the windows hard enough it sounded like distant tapping. I'm down near the east wing again. Supposed to be restocking saline bags. I was alone. Or at least I thought I was. Around 3:03 a.m., I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Not loud, not on the door, from inside the wall. I froze. There it was again. Knock, knock, knock. It was coming from the stretch of hallway right outside room 616, which, I swear to you, had been sealed shut the day before. Except now, the door was cracked open, and a gurney sat outside the room. On it, a body under a sheet. I approached like a total idiot. The sheet was damp, smelled like mold and old antiseptic, and on the wrist, an ID band. I pulled it closer. Faded letters. Could barely make it out. It was him, the same name Lucille whispered. Darren Holt, DOA, 1978. I stepped back, and then the sheet moved. Just the slightest rise and fall, like breath. I held my own breath, and that's when Lucille appeared beside me, like she'd teleported there. Her face pale as wax. She grabbed my wrist so hard it hurt and hissed one thing. If he asks for water, don't you dare. I didn't wait for the rest. I was gone. Didn't care about saline bags. Didn't care about protocol. I ran until my lungs burned and my vision blurred. And behind me, somewhere in the dark, knock, knock, knock. A name from the past. I didn't sleep after that. Not that morning, not the next. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the sheet move, saw the name, heard those knocks. I tried to tell myself it was stress, sleep deprivation. Nurses hallucinate all the time on night shifts. Ask anyone. But part of me knew this place wasn't right. 2 days later, I couldn't let it go. I needed answers. So I did what every rational person does in a horror movie. Right before they get killed, I went back. Not to room 616, not yet. To the records room. East Orange still kept half their ancient patient logs on paper. Dusty, brittle things in locked metal drawers. I waited till my break, snuck down there with a key I probably wasn't supposed to have. It took an hour, but I found it. A man named Darren Holt, admitted June 1978. psych ward transfer. Died same night. Cause of death? Self-inflicted injuries, severe blood loss. But the notes were worse. Patient claimed a man was living in the walls of his room, insisted someone kept knocking, asked repeatedly for water, became violent when denied. Room assigned 616. That's when I noticed the last entry. One word scrawled in red pen, underlined twice. Returned. No date, no explanation, just that. Returned. I slammed the file shut, and as I turned to leave, swear to God, one of the overhead lights flickered and went out. And for a split second, I saw a shape at the end of the records aisle. Tall, thin, face pale and wet-looking, like it had just crawled out of a storm drain. But when I blinked, gone. I bolted out of there so fast I left the cabinet open. And for the first time, I believed every cursed rumor about this place. The final visit. I should have quit. I should have burned that file. I should have switched jobs, moved states, changed my damn name. But no, because some of us don't know how to leave a nightmare alone. It was my last shift. I'd put in my notice after what happened in the records room. Didn't tell anyone why. Didn't need to. They'd seen the bags under my eyes. Heard me talking to myself in empty hallways. 3:12 a.m. I was making one final round, avoiding East Wing like a coward. But something tugged at me. Not literally, not yet. More like gravity, like something waiting. I passed by 1616, and the light above the door was on. Same steady red light, same cracked door, and this time I couldn't stop my hand. It moved on its own, fingers curling around the cold, clammy doorknob. The air smelled like mildew and copper. I pushed the door open. Inside was empty, the bed stripped, the call light blinking over a black monitor. Except on the whiteboard by the bed, the one we use to write patient names and staff on duty. Someone had scrawled a name, my name, in thick red marker, and under it, in Lucille's shaky handwriting, "Don't give him water." I stumbled back, and then from behind me, knock, knock, knock. I spun. The window was closed. No one there. But in the reflection, a man, pale and grinning, standing right behind me. And then, a voice, hoarse, wet, right by my ear. "I'm so thirsty." I ran. I don't remember leaving the room. I don't remember clocking out. I just remember darkness and rain and that voice. And I swear, when I finally made it home, there was water running in my sink. A glass set neatly on the counter, full. So yeah, that's the story I'll never talk about sober. If you ever pull a night shift at East Orange General and room 616's call light starts blinking, don't go in. And whatever you do, don't give him water.